The journey begins not with a sound, but with a feeling. It is the overwhelming sensation of warmth, a heavy and sweet tropical heat that rises from the baked red earth and wraps around you like a soft embrace. You have traveled a great distance to be here, stepping away from the noise and the endless rushing of your everyday life. Now you stand at the edge of the continent in the city of Darwin, where the lush green of the tropics meets the deep, inviting turquoise of the Timor Sea. The air here is thick and still, carrying the scent of frangipani flowers and sun-baked stone, a rich and heady perfume that seems to slow time itself. It is late afternoon, and the sun has begun its slow, lazy descent toward the western horizon, casting long shadows across the station platform that stretch out like fingers reaching for the cooling relief of the evening. You are safe here, sheltered from the intensity of the light, waiting for the vessel that will carry you through the heart of this ancient land. Through the glass of the station doors, you see the train waiting for you. It is a gleaming silver ribbon resting silently upon the tracks, and its polished metal sides reflect the burning orange and deep gold of the sky, mirroring the sunset with perfect stillness. This is the Ghan, a sanctuary of steel and glass, a moving haven that promises to take you away from everything you know and into the deep, quiet soul of the Outback. You step aboard, and the humid world instantly vanishes, replaced by a cool, serene silence as the doors slide shut. You find your window, which acts as a wide frame to the world outside, where the platform is now empty and bathing in the amber glow of the golden hour. The leaves of the palm trees hang heavy and still, waiting for a breeze that has not yet come, while you settle into your seat, feeling the plush velvet beneath you holding you securely. With a low, vibrating hum that is barely felt in the soles of your feet, the great engines awaken. The movement is so gentle that you might think it is just a sigh of the earth itself, but then the view outside begins to shift. The concrete platform slides backward, slowly drifting away into memory as we begin to move. We are leaving the city behind, and the journey into the infinite has finally begun. The city of Darwin begins to peel away layer by layer, shedding its suburban skin to reveal the wild, tangled heart of the top end. As the train gathers momentum, the fences and the tin roofs of the outskirts flash by in a blur of color, replaced quickly by a wall of vibrant, living green. We are entering the green belt, a lush corridor of vegetation fed by the monsoonal rains of the wet season, where the earth drinks deep and life explodes in a chaotic celebration of growth. You watch from behind the cool glass as the landscape transforms into a moving painting of pandanus palms and paperbark trees. Their trunks are twisted and pale, wrapped in layers of soft, peeling bark that look like sheets of ancient parchment waiting to be written upon. The grass here is tall and thick, waving in the wind of our passing like a vast emerald sea that ripples all the way to the horizon. It is a scene of intense vitality, yet from your vantage point inside the cabin, it unfolds in total silence, separated from you by the protective barrier of the window. The sound of the journey has now established itself, shifting from the initial groan of the engines into a steady rhythmic pulse. It is a low, hypnotic beat. Clack, clack, whoosh. Clack, clack, whoosh. That seems to sync with the beating of your own heart. This rhythm is the heartbeat of the train, a constant and reassuring lullaby that tells you there is no need to rush, no need to worry, and no need to be anywhere else but right here. You feel the gentle sway of the carriage as it navigates the curves of the track, a rocking motion that mimics the comfort of a cradle, inviting your muscles to relax and your eyes to soften their focus. The light outside is changing as the sun dips lower, turning the humid air into a haze of liquid gold. Shafts of sunlight pierce through the canopy of the passing trees, creating a strobe effect that dances across the floor of your cabin in fleeting patterns of light and shadow. You can see the first hints of the red earth beneath the green grass, a rusty ochre dust that glows with an inner fire when the sun hits it. This is the first whisper of the desert that lies ahead, a promise of the dramatic change that will come when the night falls. But for now, you simply drift through this tunnel of green and gold, carried effortlessly toward the equator of your dreams. The journey continues southward, and subtly but surely, the landscape begins to shed its tropical coat. The vibrant, electric greens of the coast are slowly replaced by the deeper, earthier tones of the interior, where the soil turns a rich and rusty red that speaks of iron and age. This is the red center reaching out to greet us, a landscape so ancient that it feels as though it has stood unchanged since the beginning of time. The tall, lush grass gives way to spinifex, hardy and resilient clumps of gold that cling to the ochre ground, creating a texture that looks soft from a distance, but is tough enough to survive the harshness of the sun. The sun itself has now become the main character of this drama, a heavy orb of molten orange hovering just above the flat horizon line. It bathes the entire world in a surreal and intense light, setting the few scattered clouds ablaze with colors that defy description. You watch as streaks of violet, crimson, and burning gold stretch across the vast dome of the sky, reflecting off the red earth below, until it feels as though the ground and the heavens are locked in a passionate embrace of color. It is a visual symphony of heat and light, a moment of pure atmospheric magic that Australia is famous for, and you are here to witness it in total comfort. From the deepening shadows of the scrub, the termite mounds begin to rise like silent sentinels guarding the plains. These are not mere mounds of dirt, but architectural marvels built grain by grain over decades, standing tall and stoic against the elements, like miniature cathedrals of the bush. The low angle of the setting sun casts their shadows long and jagged across the ground, stretching them out for hundreds of meters until they merge with the gathering darkness of the east. There is a profound stillness to this scene, a silence that is visible in the lack of movement outside, reinforcing the feeling that you are traveling through a sacred and empty space. As the sun finally slips below the edge of the earth, the fiery intensity of the orange fades into a bruised and velvety purple. This is the blue hour, a brief and beautiful period where the heat of the day lifts and the land begins to cool, exhaling the warmth it has stored for hours. The horizon blurs into a soft gradient of indigo and violet, and the first star, sharp and piercingly. The darkness here does not fall gently, but arrives with a sudden and absolute certainty, swallowing the horizon and erasing the line between the earth and the sky. Away from the glowing haze of the cities and towns, the blackness of the Outback is profound and total, a heavy velvet curtain that seems to absorb all light and sound. For a few moments, as your eyes adjust to this new reality, it feels as though you are floating in a void, suspended in a capsule of warmth amidst an endless ocean of cool, silent night. Then, slowly at first, but with increasing clarity, the ceiling of the world begins to open up. Without the interference of streetlights or smog, the southern sky reveals itself in a display of cosmic grandeur that is almost overwhelming in its scale. Stars do not just twinkle here, they burn with a steady, piercing white fire, so numerous that they look like diamond dust scattered recklessly across a canvas of obsidian. You can see the depth of the universe, layers upon layers of light, traveling from billions of years ago to reach you in this precise moment of stillness. Dominating this celestial architecture is the Milky Way, a vast and luminous river of light that stretches from one end of the horizon to the other. It is bright enough to cast a faint, ghostly shadow on the ground, a band of white fire that looks almost like a cloud frozen in the upper atmosphere. Within its glow, you might trace the dark patches known to the indigenous people as the emu in the sky, a shadow constellation defined not by the stars, but by the darkness between them, guarding the secrets of the dreaming land below. High above, the Southern Cross hangs suspended like a jeweled anchor, the iconic guide that has directed travelers, sailors, and storytellers for millennia. Seeing it there, so clear and constant, brings a sense of deep and ancient connection to those who have looked up at this same sky throughout history. The silence outside is absolute, a silence so deep it feels like a physical weight, yet it is not lonely. It is a peaceful, breathing silence that wraps around the train, promising protection and rest as we continue our voyage through the infinite night. You turn your gaze away from the infinite expanse of the stars and allow your attention to settle within the safe and warm confines of your sanctuary. The world outside has been reduced to a backdrop of absolute darkness, a void so complete that it makes the cozy amber light of your cabin feel even more precious and contained. Here inside, the air is still and cool, carrying the faint and comforting scent of polished wood and old leather that grounds you in the present moment. The sound of the journey has evolved into a seamless and constant white noise that wraps around you like a heavy blanket. It is no longer just the sound of wheels on steel, but a complex and soothing symphony of travel that blocks out every other thought in your mind. You listen to the deep and rhythmic thrum of the engine and the steady click-clack of the tracks passing beneath you, a repetitive mechanical mantra that whispers of progress and safety. It is a sound that does not demand your attention, but rather invites you to ignore it, allowing your mind to drift aimlessly on the tide of the noise. There is a physical comfort here that sinks deep into your bones, born from the gentle and ceaseless rocking of the train as it carves its path through the wilderness. The vibration is subtle, a trembling hum that travels up through the floor and into the plush velvet of your seat, loosening the knots in your muscles and encouraging your breathing to become slow and deep. You are being cradled by the motion, held securely in the palm of this great machine as it moves with purpose through the emptiness of the night. This is a place out of time, a suspended state of existence where there are no deadlines to meet and no expectations to fulfill. You are simply a passenger, a silent observer, carried along by forces greater than yourself, and in this surrender of control, you find a profound sense of peace. The rhythm of the train becomes your own rhythm. The darkness outside becomes your own quiet, and the distance between where you were and where you are going stretches out into a comfortable and sleepy eternity. We move deeper into the night, pushing further into the vast emptiness that lies at the center of this continent. The landscape outside has lost its color and definition, reduced now to a series of gray shapes and shifting shadows that glide past in a ghostly procession. The moon has risen above the horizon, a pale and luminous crescent that hangs suspended in the ink-black sky, casting a cold silver light across the sleeping earth. It transforms the rugged terrain into a dreamscape of monochrome beauty where distances are impossible to judge and time seems to have lost its meaning entirely. Under this spectral light, you can see the white trunks of the ghost gums standing out against the darkness like silent apparitions. Their smooth, pale bark reflects the moonlight with an eerie glow, making them appear as if they are floating above the dark undergrowth of the spinifex. They stand alone or in small clusters, silent witnesses to our passage through their ancient territory, watching without judgment as we cut a path through the silence. The wind of our movement ripples through their leaves, but inside the glass there is only the stillness and the visual poetry of the passing night. The repetition of the landscape is hypnotic, a never-ending loop of shadow and silver that tires the eyes in the most pleasant way possible. There are no sudden changes here to startle you, no bright lights to break the spell, only the endless and soothing continuity of the bush. It is a vastness that invites your mind to expand and then to empty, letting go of the cluttered thoughts of the day and replacing them with the quiet simplicity of the desert night. The horizon line is barely visible now, a faint seam where the dark earth meets the star-dusted sky, blurring the boundary between the ground and the heavens. You feel a heaviness settling behind your eyes, a sweet and irresistible gravity that pulls your eyelids down. The rhythm of the wheels seems to have slowed, or perhaps it is just your own pulse synchronizing perfectly with the motion of the journey. You are entering the never-never, the space between places, the time between times, where the only reality is the gentle rocking of the terrage and the silver light of the moon lighting your way into the world of dreams. Deeply soothing, atmospheric, cinematic, and slow. The comfort of the cabin has now become your entire world, a warm and soft cocoon that protects you from the vastness of the night outside. You let your head sink deeper into the pillow, feeling the cool fabric against your cheek and the gentle weight of the blanket settling over your body like a shield. The physical sensations of the journey are beginning to fade, merging into a singular feeling of weightlessness, as if the train is no longer rolling on steel tracks, but floating on a dark and quiet river. We are entering the Great Plain known as the Nullarbor, a Latin name that translates simply to no trees. It is a landscape of infinite emptiness, where the earth is so flat and so level that it mirrors the calm surface of a sleeping ocean. Looking out into the night, there are no landmarks to catch your eye and no shapes to distract your mind, only the endless and unbroken line of the horizon stretching out into the darkness. This profound emptiness is a gift, offering a blank canvas for your mind to rest upon, wiping away the cluttered images of the day and leaving only peace. The sound of the engine has softened into a distant hum, a white noise that wraps around you and creates a barrier against silence. It is a steady and drone-like vibration that resonates deep within your chest, loosening the last remaining tension in your shoulders and signaling to your body that it is safe to let go. You are completely alone in the best possible way, suspended in a moving sanctuary that asks nothing of you except that you breathe and that you rest. As you gaze into the void of the plain, the stars seem to descend closer to the earth, forming a dome of light that covers you completely. You are a voyager traveling through the deep space of the desert, drifting further and further away from the waking world with every revolution of the wheels. The pull of sleep is now undeniable, a warm and heavy tide that rises gently to meet you, inviting you to close your eyes and surrender to the rhythm of the journey. Time has become a fluid concept here in the deep desert night, dissolving into the darkness until minutes and hours no longer hold any meaning. There is only the continuous present moment, a soft and endless loop of motion that carries you forward without effort and without demand. The train glides over the earth with such smoothness that it feels as though we are not moving across the ground at all, but rather that the earth is turning slowly beneath us while we remain suspended in a bubble of peace. Outside in the cool air, the tracks stretch out behind us like two ribbons of polished silver, catching the faint light of the stars and reflecting it back into the void. They run perfectly straight for hundreds of miles, the longest stretch of straight railway in the world, a testament to the sheer scale of this land, where obstacles simply do not exist. Looking at them creates a sense of infinite perspective, drawing the mind away from the small details of life and expanding it to match the vastness of the horizon. The darkness beyond the tracks is no longer black, but a deep and layered indigo, soft and textured like heavy velvet. It seems to breathe with a slow and quiet rhythm that matches the rise and fall of your own chest as you drift deeper into relaxation. The scattered bushes and rocks have lost their forms, merging into a single soothing shade of shadow that flows past the window like a dark river returning to the sea. You are vaguely aware of the destination that lies ahead, but it feels like a distant dream, something that belongs to another world and another time. For now, there is only this journey, this protected passage through the night, where you are warm and safe and completely at rest. The gentle vibration of the carriage works its way into your muscles, untying every knot of tension and leaving behind only a pleasant heaviness that anchors you to your seat and invites you to let go completely. The night has now reached its deepest and most profound point, a heavy stillness that settles over the land like a blanket of ancient peace. We are traveling through the very heart of the continent, a place so remote and so untouched that the silence feels physical, pressing gently against the glass and wrapping the train in a cocoon of quietude. The stars above have stopped twinkling and now hang motionless in the sky, steady beacons of white fire that watch over the sleeping earth with an eternal and unblinking gaze. The landscape outside has dissolved completely into the void, leaving only the faintest suggestion of the horizon to mark the boundary between the earth and the heavens. You are no longer just a passenger on a train, but a part of this vast and timeless emptiness, drifting through the dark ocean of the desert without a destination and without a care. The sense of time has vanished entirely, replaced by a feeling of infinite suspension, where the past and the future have melted away, leaving only this singular and perfect moment of rest. Your breathing has slowed to match the rhythm of the land, deep and steady and calm. The heaviness in your body is total, a sweet and narcotic weight that anchors you to the softness of your bed and makes it impossible to lift a finger or to open an eye. The sounds of the train have receded into the background, becoming nothing more than a gentle vibration that hums through your bones, a lullaby of steel and motion that sings you deeper and deeper into the dark. This is the realm of the dream time, the sacred space where the land whispers to those who are quiet enough to listen. There are no dreams here of the busy world you left behind, only the slow and ancient dreams of the red earth and the silver stars. You allow yourself to sink finally and completely into this embrace, letting go of the last thread of wakefulness and surrendering to the deep, healing waters of sleep. The darkness begins to retreat, not with a rush, but with a gentle and hesitant shifting of the shadows. The deep indigo of the night sky slowly lightens, dissolving into a soft wash of violet and pale lavender that heralds the return of the sun. You open your eyes to a world that has been reborn in the silence, a landscape that looks cool and clean and washed new by the passage of the night. The infinite flat plains have given way to the rising shapes of the McDonald Ranges, ancient mountains of folded red stone that run parallel to the track like the spine of a sleeping giant. The first rays of the morning light strike the tops of these ridges, igniting the rock with a burning crimson fire that contrasts sharply with the lingering blue shadows in the valleys below. It is a moment of absolute visual purity, where the colors are so rich and so deep that they feel almost painted on the air. The ghost gums are no longer silver apparitions, but solid and graceful trees with white trunks that shine brilliantly against the red walls of the gorge, their leaves hanging still in the crisp morning air. The train begins to slow its rhythm, the steady hum deepening as we approach the heart of the continent. We are arriving at Alice Springs, the oasis in the desert, but the journey feels far from over. Instead, it feels as though we have simply arrived at a moment of pause, a breath taken between two beats of a heart. You feel rested and heavy with a deep sense of peace, carrying the silence of the Nullarbor and the vastness of the stars within you. The sun clears the horizon completely now, flooding the desert with a warm and golden light that promises the heat of the day to come. But here, in your sanctuary, you remain cool and protected, suspended in the gentle comfort of the morning. The tracks stretch out ahead and behind, a silver thread connecting the dreaming night to the waking day. You are safe. You are rested. You are home in the quiet center of the world.